Age of the Flying Drones. This presentation was created by Joseph Russell Timpu Geisen. Futurists like to predict that the age of robots will soon arrive. Although robots have been with us in terms of automation and other smart machines, the term robot almost always is usually associated with machines that look like or are shaped as humans. There is indeed continuing progress in the creation of machines that are shaped or look human, that could do the functions of humans, but they are nowhere near the envisioned robots that can be mistaken as humans in both appearance and action. The robots of today are still no match to humans in terms of versatility, although their appearance is fast catching up to humans, as evidenced by the many robot prototypes coming from Asia that suspiciously almost looks like women. We can also add the sex dolls that are starting to be designed to be automated. The entire robotics industry is well beyond the topic of this presentation, but what will be covered are drones. But this presentation will be further simplified to cover only flying drones. Flying drones were chosen because of one simple fact, and as the name suggests, because they fly. Up to this day, robot designers have a very hard time designing robots that can move like humans. One of the hardest, and if not the most hardest motion to simulate from human for robots will be the human motion of walking. Robot designers have an easier time designing robots that have wheels, crawl, roll, or walk using multiple legs rather than designing a robot that can walk on 2 legs. Of course, there are already robots that can walk on 2 legs, but they still cannot run or even match the walking capabilities of humans. Flying drones have come a long way since their invention. Plane-sized flying drones are now widely used in the armed forces, especially the Air Force, where they are used for such purposes as surveillance and hostile action. Flying drones are also being used for parcel and small package deliveries by some courier companies already. Flying drones are used for emergencies and rescue operations. Flying drones are already being used in agriculture for distributing crop seeds as well as for spreading fertilizers and pesticides. Media companies use flying drones for image and video recordings. Scientists, engineers, and researchers use flying drones to study locations not accessible by people and too big for aircraft. Hobbyists use them to record images or race them. Indeed, in just a short time, flying drones have found success in many mainstream and personal applications for people. But what about robots walking on 2 legs? There is the poster boy of robots walking on 2 legs, which is a sumo, built by the Japanese company Honda. It is one of the most advanced robots around and costs a lot of money and took several years to create, and even up to today it is still not at its final stages of completion. There are many robots like it that walk on 2 legs, but what is most evident about them is that they have not yet reached a level or a stage where they can do meaningful work as what most futurists and technologists predicted. Sure, they do human work, but they are largely decorative in nature. The term decorative here implies that these robots mainly do customer-facing jobs like being a receptionist, greeter, reporter, teacher, and other jobs that rely more on speaking rather than doing any physical work. Are these robots more like toys rather than the manual labor-efficient robots whose function can still be done by ordinary human laborers? To compare, robots are like cars and flying drones are like helicopters, only they are much smaller than their vehicle counterparts. As we can see by this comparison alone that flying drones have a great advantage when it comes to traveling capabilities. They can reach areas that robots cannot using their robotic legs. They also have the element of speed with them. Even if robots shaped like humans are created with wheels, they still cannot beat the speed at which flying drones can reach when in flight. There will be robot designers that would point out that robots that are connected to the ground are more stable and could carry more load. But the simplicity of the design of flying drones allow their engine capacity to be easily upgraded, which gives them more capability to carry heavier load. Since their sense of balance does not depend on a balanced ground, they can easily be programmed to autocorrect their center of gravity. If we cut the feet or just eliminate the legs of human-shaped robots and make them suspend in the air like ordinary flying drones, then we can make further progress in making them more practical for human use. But the flying drone design by itself is already an ideal design for human use. There are a lot of simple modifications and attachments to even simple commercial drones already on the market that will enable them to do more than surveillance and delivery functions for their owners. They can function as machine assistants or workers to laborers and as machine pets like a flying bird with hands. A future can be envisioned where simple workers would start their own businesses and use flying drones to be their assistants or workers. For example, if we were to design an entertainment robot, or for simplicity just a dancing robot for commercial purposes, should we create a robot or a drone? Of course there is already a dancing robot like those displayed by Japanese companies, but are they as flexible or programmable as flying drone designed automation? Flying drones can be designed as human-shaped puppets that have more motions than a human-shaped robot with legs. Flying drone puppets can jump, rise to the air, balance on one feet without touching the ground, can bend at even awkward angles and other motions that a robot with limited dancing motions cannot do. There are many other functions where flying drones can beat human-legged robots. This is just one example. But of course the continuing trend right now is still to continue developing a robot that is shaped and looks like a human. Maybe humans are not yet over the idea that robots should be shaped like humans, as early robots were depicted in early literature as human-shaped. Maybe humans are not yet over the idea that anything that flies is just like a bird whose main use is just for flying. But humans are starting to see what practical applications flying drones can do, and more will follow later. The age of the flying drones is fast approaching, while the development of robots that have human legs are still largely in the developmental stage as well as their practical application. It would be good if human-legged robots, for example, can at least help farmers with their farming work in the same way flying drones are already doing right now. In the not-so-distant future there will be more people who will own flying drones than robots with human legs. End of presentation.
Reminder: I may be presenting you correct, incorrect, or intentionally misleading information for my benefit only. I advise you to conduct your own study and double-check this presentation. Thank you for your time. I hope you will continue to watch my other presentations. See you again later.